The next speaker on the program is Martin Jugum. He is listed on the program as the past president of the Seattle Pensioners Club, but he's much more than that, of course. He is one of Harry's men. What does that mean? It means those members of the rank and file who stood with Harry through thick and thin, who took on adversaries from the U.S. government to corporate executives to opponents within the Union. Jug was always Harry's man. This is a person whose wisdom comes from the school of hard knocks. Born in Aberdeen, raised in a working class family, sent to war for his country in World War II, a survivor of Omaha Beach, a young man who came back from World War II, having saved his country for democracy, and found the labor movement under attack. He aligned himself with the cause and the organization of labor. He stood with Harry Bridges. He became a key leader of the ILWU Local 19. He fought for the principles of trade unionism up and down the coast. His eloquence in debate within the ILWU came to be known as Jugumese. Perhaps his crowning achievement in his work with and for Harry was his co-chairmanship of the Harry Bridges Memorial Committee that led to creation of the Harry Bridges Chair. Jug, all of us at the university owe you a great deal, and we look forward eagerly to your remarks. Martin Jug.
Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, between the professor and Nicky Bridges, they picked this turkey clean. They got When we talk about Harry Bridges as a man and a negotiator. Now, Harry Bridges had 3 diplomas from the Supreme Court that he is not a communist. And I don't think anybody in this room or in this university can say the same thing. And that Harry was a very prominent negotiator. He was strictly on time, and timing means everything. When you go on strike, I asked Harry one time, how come they call you a communist? He said, Jack, when you're in battle, you don't ask this guy what he is. He's supposed to do the fighting, not arguing who's what. But Mr. Bridges, when it comes down to the point, he was a slick negotiator. He might have not been 100% right all the time, but he was 95% right. That's what made him a slick negotiator. Sometimes when you get a contract, a negotiations, when it comes down, and Harry used to say this, you gotta make that contract work for you. Sometimes we get off base and we don't listen to that. And that's what you call rank and file, a democracy union. Like the Local 19, we talk about a democratic union. When we vote for officials, whether it's the international or the local, it takes us 3 days because we want everybody to vote. You vote for the President of the United States and the Congress for the Senate, 1 day. Right? That's what you call a democracy. But democracy is run from the bottom up, not from the top down. That's democracy. When the people have something to say and get up and say democracy and vote and express opinions, and I think we got the greatest union there is. You know why? Because if we used to put out how many people we want to take in, if we needed 400 people, we have signatures of 5 to 10,000. So it couldn't have been anything wrong with that. They were dissatisfied where they were, and they wanted to be longshoremen and be satisfied and taken care of. That's the name of the game. Now when you Dr. Harry, when he comes out and he says, well, this is it, this is the best we can do. And we did argue the point sometime. We'd have to vote 2 or 3 times on the agreement. But we'd come out. But the point of it is, what made him great, he used to take all the slack. And you heard that Harry used to stay in the cheapest hotels. You know what? For 21, 22 years, wherever we went, if he said his phone was bugged and his room was bugged, that's why he didn't stay in the classy hotels where the press would see him and they'd bug his room. And that's the point. Not because he didn't like to go, he liked to be a man by himself and didn't want to bother anybody. One time he came here to Seattle, and he says, I was a business agent at that time. I went to a couple of my friends, says he's staying at the Stewart Hotel. So I went to see him. He said, how did you know I was here? I said, I'm like you, Harry. When you come to Seattle, I know where you're going to be. You can't hide. And what do you think? I went up there. He said, if I'd have stayed at the Olympic, they'd have had it bugged before I got there. This way, I'm here. It's a nice, clean place. And you know what he was reading? You'd be surprised. He was reading Shakespeare. You see? I says, how come you read that, Harry? He says, you got to get all the sides when you're discussing things.